What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. And yeah, first we'll start with this. Man, I need a cold one. Don't worry, it's alcohol free. It's basically an overpriced lemonade. Started like beer, but they removed the alcohol and added some lemon to it. What I'm doing now is blasphemy because despite being Dutch, it is from Belgium. So my apologies in advance to all the Belgian people that might watch this. It won't happen again, I promise. But yeah, we're going to. First, I wanted to do Screecher, but I couldn't help but yeah. Go back to my past again, and yeah, to my youth, and yeah, go. Already showed the preview. This time we're going to the real review with spoilers. So if you don't like it, click away right now. We're going to do Suske and Wiske, Jeromba the Greek. In English, you might know them as Bob and Babette, or in this case, Spike and Suzy. It's issue 72. It was written was published in the 1960s by Standaard Uitgeverij and created by Willy Vandersteen, the godfather of Suske and Wiske, the Red Knight, and one of my inspirations and heroes. So yeah. Here's the cover, nothing to be seen here. As you might see, the cover is a little bit dated, and yeah, the sands of time have affected it quite a lot. But the interiors are still intact, and it was 50 euros at the flea market, or 50 euro cents at the flea market. That would be a lot of money for this. So yeah, here we go. Sidonia, Jerome, Suske and Wiske, or Bob and Babette, and Lambic, Jerome, and Kemal dancing the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, formerly known as Constantinople. And here's a sword. They'll play a big part in the story. This is not interested. Oh, what the hell happened here? So move the camera or something. Jeromba the Greek. Jeromba the Greek, basically. Standaard Uitgeverij, Antwerps and Amsterdam. It starts on an autumn night. They're basically driving all the way to the home or the castle of Professor Barabbas. And they wonder why the hell he chose to live there. Because, yeah, but you know how science guys were. And yeah, it basically gives him the feeling of a haunted castle. And suddenly he crashes against a tree trunk, or against a tree. And Lambic, that's this guy over here, thought he saw someone, and he ran to it. And Jerome, that's the muscles and the brains, he thinks. One second. Thinks he is kind of losing it because that his mind is aging. But suddenly he sees a little guy, looks exactly like the professor. But the thing is, they'll be serving as both lifesavers and to move the plot forward. And he disappears in the grass, and now he knows what the, and yeah, before anyone noticed. And Lambic is like, it was Barabbas. It was not a big guy, but smaller than that. And Sidonia, that's the aunt who takes care of the two kids, tells him that he needs to check his blood pressure, and he's like, no, I saw it, he saw it. And yeah, Jerome is like, gave him his pill before he caused more trouble. And they feed him the pill by force. And the muscle guy Jerome carries him up like a little baby, which makes it even more hilarious. And they meet the professor, and he is surprised that this is the real professor. Absolutely hilarious, this part. Goes further, but the little bar boss comes back, and he still thinks that Lambic is hallucinating, but yeah, it goes from bad to worse. And but during the night, he tells Bob and Babette go because they're kids, of course, they're curious. They get into the lab or into his work chamber or in his office, and tells him get the hell out of here. And yeah, that's strange to of course Babette or Wiske, because he's never like this. It's true. And Sidonia is getting trolled by the dwarf version of herself, and the light is on, and she was and the little Sidonia scares hell out of the big one, and yeah, she runs out of her bedroom and basically walks over Lambic, because that's the running gag in a lot of these stories. And everybody wakes up, and even she is hallucinating at the moment, and they put her against the wall. And what happens next is the professor explains it to them, and created, of course, has to be his last invention. Create little versions of themselves, robots, so they could be radio controlled. And yeah, what happens next is Lambic tries, of course, but because he's because the controls are jammed, the little dwarf or robot friends, they malfunction, or they go against the programming and try to shoot someone. And Jerome goes after the little Sidonia. Can't get to her. So yeah, he tries to jump, but there was a hole in basically a hole in the ground, and eventually he grabs her, and he turns her off, and he goes for a drink because it made him thirsty. He tells him that after his drink is done, tells him to go away, and that's where Kemal comes in. Kemal is a Turkish guy who's apparently drinking alcohol. I figured out, despite being this from a different era, by the way, despite being in a different, despite the majority of Turkey is a Muslim country, there are some people that drink alcohol, and sometimes they even make wine in a certain liquor, I think. Not sure. It's during the 60s, written during the 60s, so he tells Jerome that he's a little more enthusiastic. He has a little more enthusiasm, like he's a little more extrovert, and tells him to drink, and tells him and invites him to a drink. And eventually, after an hour, he tells him. Of course, he gets drunk, and Jerome has to take him to his ship. And he goes and tells him about that he has to go to Istanbul tomorrow, and tells him things about the Blue Mosque. She's Kebabi, Kemal, we'll never forget you, Jerome. And but there are a group of belonging to the Turkish mafia. This guy over here, beginning to there, is Boris. He's the leader of the gang who are after something, and they attack Kemal because he has something in his possession that is not that shouldn't be in this position that they want to sell for some big monies. So yeah, they attack Kemal, but Kemal, being a strong guy, just like it, almost on par with Jerome, he smashes them into the planks. Jerome decides to help him, and yeah, zeg je mis niets. Verdwijn, schurken. So that means, yeah, get the hell out of here, you bastard. And he comes to help Kemal, and together they share some of the gangsters, and they're unconscious. But Boris, the big guy, has another guy and tries to shoot him, but yeah, Jerome basically smashes him with the planks, and he's knocked out. And he asks him who he is. This guy is Boris. He's a Bulgarian from the underworld of Istanbul, and basically the Turkish mafia. And yeah, it's what they were looking for, and why they're after Kemal is because he is in possession of the scimitar from the Hagia Sophia mosque, the blue mosque that used to be it used to be a church, but after the fall of Constantinople in 1453 ad Domine, I think that's correct, when Suleiman II the Great decided to take over the city and Eastern Roman Empire. That wasn't really Roman anymore; it was more Greek than Roman. But I digest. And he tells him about the ghost of Istanbul. But he tells him, but you cannot tell anyone. And he asks him if Jerome to take care of the sword before he comes back, and until he comes back, and she asks him if he wants a newspaper. He tells him that that newspaper is full with 70 billion that we have to pay in tax to fill in bottomless pit. So give me a book. And he yeah, it tells him from El Ciden's mother, why are we paying this? Okay, it's funny. And yeah, when Sidonia is streaming, it's kind of a coincidence that the swords, that the scimitar is lying downstairs, and she's having a dream of the Hagia Sophia mosque, of the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, the sword, an old home, and a gallery. And she wakes up screaming because she saw buildings, a sword, and Jerome. This is a funny coincidence. He shows her the sword, and she tells him that the appearance, or yeah, I call it gedaan, I don't know. I need to learn how to spell the word to find out. The figure had the same sword. And yeah, he tells him, yeah, Lammy doesn't tell him that you don't have to listen to the words of a drunk Turkish guy, but Jerome takes offense to this, and he is like, screw you guys, I'm out of here. Okay. And they tell Lammy that he's been, that he has been going too far. And here comes one of the plot twists. The 17 is an uneven page, and you know what happens on uneven pages. They're a little bit more laid back with this, because it's a Franco-Belgian comic. Jerome gets hit by lightning. It's kind of funny because I'm working on something similar as well. It's a little more for the more mature people, mature audience. As a result, Jerome loses his memory, and he doesn't know who he is, and he doesn't even recognize his friends anymore, and he runs away and disappears. And Barabbas is is furious to him and tells him that it's his fault that because of him his memory got lost. And they insult each other, and she has a headache. They have to get and the kids keep the professor company. So that's worked out. And then they're ambushed by Boris and his gang from the Turkish mafia. And Lambik thinks he could take care of him, but he's kind of clumsy. He accidentally hits Sidonia, and he gets knocked out with a club. And they go after Barba's. He tells him that he doesn't know anything, and they try to blow up the safe that contains the sword or the scimitar of one of the Ottoman. We'll come back later. One of the Ottoman warlords or generals, and they're using the kids. See, Spike and Suzy, they use the little robot version of themselves to put explosives under them, and they're blown into the ceiling. We're going back to this. Yes, they're running after them, and they see the little guys, and Boris thinks that this place is haunted. And here, somewhere else, at the harbor, Jerome, who is still suffering from his memory loss, gets asked by a police officer what he does at the harbor, but he is telling him he's lost his memory, and he gives him some little blanket from the goodness of his heart. He gives him a blanket, and as a result, Jerome ends up on a Greek ship. This is the next part. And he's stuck in Istanbul. And they have to come. And Stina thinks there's a connection between her dream and that of Kemal the Turk. And Lambik doesn't want to come with them, but Wiske, who's kind of the smartest of them all, tries to stroke his ego and convinces him to go with him to Istanbul. And they fly to and Sidonia screams and tells him that this is the home where they that appeared in their dream. And that the beard guy gives him a present known as a rifle. They come here. You're screaming, they're shooting people, and they end up in a dungeon, and Bobette gets knocked out. They wonder where it comes from, and there are all kinds of traps in this place. And eventually they come to down at what seems to be some kind of water reserve for and they've been built by Justinianus. Let's build these things on these wells to keep the city hydrated during the attacks on the city of Constantinople by the Byzantine emperor. So they go into the a ship, and there's a rat on board, and of course Lambik comes to the bright idea to shoot a hole in the wooden canoe or something, and or boat, and they sink to the bottom. And suddenly a bearded guy tells him to grab his beard, and they make it all the way up there to a secret part of the dungeon. And this guy is known as Stantijn. He's an old crusader, and he fought against the Ottomans during the Siege of Constantinople, and were against them during the Siege of Constantinople, and apparently he defeated the Sultan Ali Salami, but he spared his life, and he offered him his freedom, and as a reward he gave him a scimitar with some beautiful gems, the same we saw on the cover, and with a message on it that we'll get to the best part later. That's the best part. That's for later. The sword, but the sword lost a certain part. Got a certain part, and he lost it, and then the only way he has been cursed ever since, and the only way where you can find his piece and cross the Rainbow Bridge is if the sword is back and hanging at in the Hagia Sophia. So the mask, the blue mask, and they tell him that they could help him potentially. Stantijn tells him not to, and attacks with his staff, and he gets a sword. Kemal has apparently got the sword when he was not unconscious. And what happened next is Boris has a gang appear, and he tries it again, and he is once again beaten by some clumsiness. It's one of the character flaws of Lambiek that is hilarious. In the older issues later, in other books they kind of went overboard with it in certain areas, but it happens once a writer dies, the knowledge goes with him to the grave, and certain elements get lost over time. But he goes to a bar, and he encounters Jeromba, who now thinks he's a Greek, thanks to being on the Greek ship. Tells me, you can always buy me a glass, but he goes dancing. She's always in a good mood. And where Lambiek is fighting to beat the other guys, he punches them out. And they dance Sitaki together, and he's kind of how do you call that? Kind of tired. And he excuse him for being so excited. So they're going on the ship. And Kemal's drinking again. He gets lunch into Kemal's bed, and or a chair, and he offers him a drink, and but he refuses. But if he refuses with Kemal, he has to fight, and that's where Jeromba comes in, and they tell him that he lost his memory. What he didn't tell him that he's Greek. So it gets to the next part, and he tells him to fill him up with wine and shish kebabi. So it's an kebab. And and they drink for all time's sake, but he tells him that he's a Greek, and Turks and Greeks are rivals. He tries to punch him, and he hangs him back on the back of the car, and Kemal is gone. The sword is nowhere to be found, and is looking for the sword. And Sidonia disguised herself as a gitana, as a Romani, and she meets with one of her old friends. Tells him that tries to read the cards, and solves the problem with a hammer. And the mafia comes in. They shoot with their musical instruments, and yeah, Sidonia shoots with an automatic electric guitar, and blowing up the cards, and he shoots Boris out of the car, but they run away with the safe. There's an but he shoots a tree down, and they crash. This goes on for a while. They lose the safe gets blown up, they get the sword, they get away, but the shaft is still there. I don't know how you call the part where you put the sword in. There's a word for that, but one part is missing, one part is still in their hands. And he puts, and yeah, he's looking for a criminal, and he accidentally puts a wrestling manager or trainer. He tells him that he owes him 1,000 dinar if he wants to perform for him as a Turkish wrestler. And it's drawn in oil, because that's how Turkish wrestlers apparently try to have to fight each other, and he is put against the one guy who hates him the most, and yeah, they're almost equally matched. They both fight each other, but Jeromba eventually defeats him. But they follow him. They follow the criminals, the mafia, or the gangsters to him, and yeah, the bullets don't even cause a dent in his Jerom's torso, because he's incredibly yeah, he's as masculine as masculine could be, and yeah, that's almost historical strength and endurance and brains. So yeah, to get into the castle. Once again, the whole gang is together, and they break into it. They get the sword, get all out of here, and yeah, but Boris follows them. They use a water pipe to get all out of here. And yeah, they come to Stantijn, Boris fires his shots, but they get stuck in his beard, and he attacks him with his own rusty sword. And yeah, he's been working with thrilled to be working with Sidonia, and they came back to Lambeek. He's still looking for the sword, but he arrives at the defeated camel, who feeds him was trying to forget his defeat by getting drunk, and they drink together. He gets him drunk, and yeah, he tells him that he's been defeated by a Greek guy, and he gives him in his drunk in Lambeek's drunk mood. He gives Camel the sword. And yeah, what happens next is yeah, the sword. He releases the sword, and he attacks them with it. But the one of the shaft gets thrown into Jeromba's face. So one part is in the hands of a Turkish guy, one part is in the hands of a Greek guy. They follow him. The two parts, and yeah, one of them saves him. He doesn't want to be saved by a Greek guy, and they arrive at the Hagia Sophia, the blue mosque. I don't know if I'll ever visit that place. It looks nice. And yeah, look at the detail of this place. Beautiful. And yeah, they try to run over Jerome, but Jerome is a lot stronger and tougher than the car. Car crashes, and Bob and Bobette, they activate their little versions of themselves, And yeah, they drop a plant on their heads, etc. to and he makes his way out of here. And they use the little robots to tie him to a tree, crash against it, and in the mask, Kemal's sleeping with the sword. So a little tipsy, and until he wakes up and he smells Jerome, and they both fight each other. Told that he has been practicing with the Red Knight, trained by him, and eventually he gets pissed of it, and he hangs him to the wall and tells him to listen to him. He tells him that it needs to eventually one hit it restore part of his memory, and yeah, he tells him that it doesn't matter if we're Turkish or Greek, we're all friends. We're all friends. We're all brothers in the end. We're all humans in the end, and it's time to settle this score once and for all and sign a peace treaty. And Kemal thinks that he tells us to steal his sword, but yeah, eventually tells him that shut up, we need to talk, and Kemal can read the letters on the scimitar. Tells him that it says in Turkish, "Be all brothers." Signed, Ali Salami, the Great Turk. And here comes the revelation. This is excellent story. This is excellent story writing. Tells him that they put some historical rivalry in this book, but eventually here you see the beginning of two sides working together. And together they dance the Sitaki for old time's sake. And finally Greeks and Turkish people are united again as brothers. And they dance together. But they tell him that to give Stantijn, the old crusader, his well-deserved rest, they have to hang the sword at the highest lamp of the Hagia Sophia, the mosque. So here you see Turkish and Greek people working together. And Kemal's kind of clumsy himself. He tells him that could you push this a little higher? Yeah, of course, but I have to spit in my hands first. And this last hit on the head restores Jerome's memory complete, and he's Jerome again. No longer Jeromba, the Greek, but he's now Jerome again. And they took care of the criminals. Tells him that Jerome has his memory back, and with this, Stantijn, they find Stantijn with the sword hanging on the top of the highest lamp in the mosque. Stantijn finally could pass Rainbow Bridge. And all ends well. A happy ending. And also happy ending for Kemal, who had a revelation thanks to the sword of Ali Salami. Tells him that he bids them farewell, and all Greeks, all humans of the world are my brothers. Instead of drinking and fighting, I'll be dancing Sitaki. Farewell. And they reflect on it, how difficult it could be to make them put a Greek and a Turkish guy to put aside the differences. And they make the joke. This is kind of a political joke, slightly political, but it's put in a larger context. So it's only one little element in it, and it's put in a larger part of a larger concept. So don't worry about that. Have you ever tried a miner and a union leader? You have tried them to dance Sitaki together, and that's the end. And that's it. Did this, aside from the cover, did it stand the test of time? The answer is yes. And I'll be copying some things from my community post. Some things are a little dated, but it's because it was published in the 60s in Belgium by Standaard Uitgeverij during a different time and people had a different mindset. And there are some really nice references to the Turkish and Greek rivalry and of course the battle of the Byzantines against the Ottomans and the fall of Constantinople. That's where the sword comes in. And yeah, including the Crusades. This was during the Crusades, not during the fall of Constantinople, but yeah, this stands. And yeah. And the sword, and of course there were elements of Turkish mafia in it. And but at the end of the day, both Turks and Greeks, beside the differences, work together as a team towards a unified goal to put the sword at the top of the highest lamp of the mosque of the Hagia Sophia, the Blue Mosque, and to make the Templar or the Crusader finally grant him his wish, and so he could pass the Rainbow Bridge and yeah, be with his god for a change. And yeah, at the end they both dance shiitake together, Turks and Greeks together. And yeah, they dance shiitake together, and yeah, even the Turkish guy has a revelation that yeah, not all Greeks are bad people, and yeah, they're just humans just like him, and yeah, we have our history together, but in the end, yeah, what's more important, fighting and drinking, or yeah, work together as a team towards a better future. That's it. And yeah, there are some historical, like I said, there are also some political influences at the end, but there are a small part of it, and it's put in a larger concept. So things like things about taxes, etc. But they don't take over. It's not pushing your face. They don't take over the entire story, just like this. It's put a large concept, and yeah, aside from the cover and one panel that felt out of place, it stood the test of time, and this is one of the reasons why Willy Vandersteen is one of my childhood heroes and my inspirations. There was one panel where the dialogue felt unnecessary, but I kind of forgot where it was. But don't let it put you away. It's a few to mention. It gets a 90 out of a 100. A 9, like we say in Dutch. I highly recommend it, but I suggest you learn a bit of Dutch first or French before you read this one. And that's my review. It's about 40 minutes long, and it will be. Nobody's going to go to watch it towards the entire thing, I think. But hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. And yeah, this Friday won't be a creative live writing stream. I'll save that for White Monday. On White Sunday, I'll be streaming Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. And yeah, hope to see you guys right there. Talk to you guys later. Peace.